For centuries, a single story has echoed across the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. It is a whisper shared by cultures separated by thousands of miles of water, a story of a great land, a mother continent that once connected islands, people, and entire kingdoms. They speak of a paradise, a center of knowledge and peace, that was swallowed whole by the rising seas in a single catastrophic event. Modern scholars and historians have long dismissed this tale as a simple myth, a fanciful explanation for the shared cultural traits found among distant island peoples. But what if it's more than a myth? What if the legend of this lost world, a continent some call Lemuria, hides a forbidden truth? Beneath the waves in the silent depths of the ocean, strange and colossal structures have been found. Off the coast of Japan, near the island of Yonaguni, lies a monument of staggering proportions. It features massive, perfectly carved stone terraces, straight-edged steps, and towering pillars, all seemingly hewn from the bedrock itself. Mainstream archaeology is quick to label these formations as natural, the result of geological processes and ocean currents. Yet, divers and independent researchers who have explored the site firsthand tell a different story. They see unmistakable signs of intelligent design walls, roadways, and what appears to be a grand central pyramid. And Yonaguni is not alone. Similar underwater anomalies have been discovered near the coast of India and the Gulf of Cambay, and even in the waters surrounding Easter Island. Massive stone formations arranged in deliberate geometric patterns that defy conventional explanation. Could these be the sunken remnants of a forgotten civilization? The architecture of a world no one was meant to find? The mystery only deepens when we listen to the ancient legends. From the shores of Hawaii to the archipelagos of Indonesia, from the distant island of Madagascar to the scattered cultures of Polynesia, the oral traditions describe the same core elements. They speak of a vast landmass that once dominated the Pacific. They tell of an advanced civilization, a people who possessed great wisdom and spiritual insight. And they all recount a sudden terrifying cataclysm, a great flood, or a shaking of the earth that consumed their homeland, forcing the few survivors to flee in great canoes, sailing across the newly formed oceans to settle the islands we know today. These stories, passed down through countless generations, shouldn't match so closely. These cultures were separated by impossible distances, with no known contact. Yet they all remember the same lost world. It's a collective memory, a shared scar on the human psyche that points to a single, common origin. But perhaps the most compelling evidence lies not in stone or story, but within our very own DNA. Modern geneticists have discovered strange anomalies in the bloodlines of certain Pacific populations. They share unique genetic markers that appear nowhere else on Earth, creating a pattern of ancestry that scientists struggle to explain with standard migration models. The official narrative tells us that these islands were settled by seafaring peoples from Asia in relatively recent history. But the genetics suggest something far older, far more complex. One controversial theory proposes that these shared markers are the genetic echoes of an earlier widespread civilization that spread across a single landmass. When that landmass collapsed, its people were scattered, becoming isolated on newly formed islands, carrying the genetic signature of their lost homeland with them into the present day. Then there are the maps. Ancient charts and nautical maps drawn by early explorers like Piri Reis and Orontius Phineas depict land masses in the Pacific and Atlantic where none exist today. They show coastlines and island chains, now submerged hundreds of meters beneath the ocean's surface. Skeptics write these off as cartographical errors, simple mistakes made by sailors navigating an unknown world. But some of these maps show coastlines with a degree of accuracy that would have been impossible without advanced surveying techniques, or without being copied from even older source maps created by a civilization that knew the world as it was before the great floods at the end of the last ice age. Were these really mistakes? Or are they ghost memories of a world that was erased by time and water? Even on the islands that survived, the clues are hiding in plain sight. All across the Pacific, from Easter Island to the Marquesas to Tonga, we find astonishing megalithic structures. We see perfectly cut, multi-ton stone blocks fitted together with such precision that a knife blade cannot be inserted between them. We find complex astronomical observatories aligned with solstices and equinoxes. We discover ceremonial platforms and statues far too large and sophisticated to have been built by the small, isolated populations that historical records describe. Mainstream archaeologists believe these were all independent developments, that each island culture spontaneously invented these advanced techniques on its own. But some researchers see a different pattern. They argue that these are not isolated achievements, but the surviving remnants of a single, shared architectural and engineering tradition, a cultural blueprint inherited from a common ancestor, a motherland, Lemuria. The connections continue with the symbols, carved into stone monuments, cliffsides, and ancient artifacts across the Pacific. The same distinct symbols appear again and again. Intricate spirals, complex geometric patterns, and stylized figures of sun worshippers are found in Hawaii, New Zealand, Easter Island, and the Americas. Cultures separated by immense oceans, with no known way of communicating, somehow shared the same sacred motifs. Coincidence becomes a less and less likely explanation. The more logical conclusion is a connection, a common source from which these symbols and ideas spread. Geological science may hold the final, terrifying piece of the puzzle. The Earth's history over the last 20,000 years is one of violent and dramatic change. We have clear evidence of massive volcanic supereruptions, sudden and catastrophic seismic shifts, and rapid sea level rises of over 100 meters as the ice caps melted. Events of this magnitude were more than powerful enough to reshape continents, to sink entire landmasses beneath the waves in a geological blink of an eye. The legend of a continent suddenly vanishing is not fantasy. It's a geological probability. Lemuria may have been one of its victims, a thriving civilization that was shattered into a collection of scattered mountain-top islands and deep, silent seafloors. Disturbingly, there are whispers of suppressed findings, reports from underwater expeditions that documented strange anomalies, man-made artifacts, cut stone blocks, and unexplainable formations, only for their funding to be abruptly cut or their findings to be classified. Several private organizations and government agencies have restricted access to sonar data and deep-sea imagery from these regions, citing vague sensitivity concerns. It forces us to ask the uncomfortable question: if Lemuria was only a myth, why does so much of the evidence point to a lost world? Why do so many cultures with no contact describe the same cataclysm? Why do impossible ruins appear to be scattered across the ocean floor? And why does our own DNA tell a story that no textbook dares to mention? Perhaps the truth isn't lost. Perhaps it's just been buried. The ocean may be deep and the past may be silent, but the legend of Lemuria survives, waiting for us to finally listen. If you are ready to uncover more forbidden history and question the official story, subscribe to our channel. The truth is out there. Tell us in the comments where you believe the lost world of Lemuria once stood.